Alright, so this is my gray box of the level Hospital Shootout, and this is the commentary version if you don't want to hear me talk. There's also a silent version where I just play through the level silently. In this version I'll be talking about some of the decisions I made and why I did those. So one of the first things I did was I added this guy who flies across the path of the player, and that's sort of to guide them down the direction they're supposed to go, but I've also added this, so if they're feeling a little rebellious, they'll get kind of a sneak peek at a little treat they can pick up later. They'll meet this dead end. So this area is supposed to act sort of like a black back alleyway to the hospital. And here they'll be entering a back door, probably something like an employee entrance of sorts. So in the first combat, I wanted to keep it really simple, really easy. So I give the player plenty of space to move around in what would be a lobby. And I've also, only given them slow enemies that are pretty easy to fight off. This head crab here falls through the roof to help guide the player's eyes upwards. Of course, in the gray box, having it be one of the few models in the map is doing that for us. But I want them to see that there's explosives here and that there's a fire in front of this boarded up doorway. Now they have no way of getting out. So really their only option is to hopefully blow open that door. And I think the fire does a pretty good job of indicating that. I've given some small trails to make sure that this world feels a little bit bigger than it really is. Without, creating a level that'll get them lost somewhere. I'm going to pick up this barrel now. We'll be using it to get up into this vent. This would be like a maintenance area. Oh. Alright, so we're going to use this to hop up into this vent. And so we're about midway through the vent. We're going to notice that there is a split here. We're going to start going left. There's a ladder. Hopefully that will draw their attention. One thing I like to do is reward players for exploring, though it's pretty much a linear world, a linear level. I've definitely added a bunch of little hints and stuff, and if the player takes all of them, they might have a little easier of a time getting through the shootout that occurs later on. So as you can see, this loops back around to that first alley where they get the sneak peek of those shotgun shells. We're just going to go make our way back. So as we come out of this vent, we're going to be re-entering the little alleyway that we started off in. And as we come up these stairs, we're going to have our little first run-in with the Combine. They're going to rappel down and use this barrier here. I've added this alleyway so that the player can take cover if they feel flustered. This is being played in hard mode, so that's a pretty useful thing to have. If it's an easier mode, they can probably just rush in and be okay. Alright, so again, some more of that non-linearity to make the world feel large. I'm gonna come in here. There are plenty of doors to try. And again, with the rewards, player will be able to heal themselves up here if they prove to be explorative. Alright, so here I have this little section where I warn the player of the relatively sudden combat by having that elevated ding. And then I put these pillars on the wall to give them a place to hide. If they're a little farther forward, they can also duck into this room and also find some health kits. It is a hospital after all. So there's this stairway here, and this will lead down to the parking lot. Sort of like an emergency staircase. However, these aren't only here for this combat. I do have them placed throughout the entire hospital for consistency. Alright, so now we can enter the elevator. Close for us. And as you could expect, the elevator breaks down and the player has to jump out. Alright, so this is a bit calmer of a section. I didn't want the game to just be running and gunning the whole time. There's not much going on in this room. As you can see, those pillars are here all the way down. You know, after art there'd be hospital beds and rooms all along here. Alright. Tried to keep things interesting by placing a head crab there. I like the idea that a player would use these windows to see what's behind them before just rushing into rooms, so I'm trying to train them to be careful about that. Alright, so we're kind of at our goal room. You can see the hole in the floor here. You can see the fire down there. We'll take one of those, and one of these. Just for consistency's sake, I put this loop around back here. You can see the elevator closed. And now we'll just go down into here. Alright, so I would figure that the first thing they would try is these, because this is what they saw first when they made this connection. The force from this explosion just isn't powerful enough, so there's also these. If the player manages to not pick up one of these and drop down the hole, they can always just go back through the vent and back around, and if they have broken open that door, it's a real easy trip. If they haven't broken up that door, they can just hop on the elevator. Alright, we're gonna jump through here, and this is the parking lot. This is really where the shootout occurs, or the hospital shootout. It's a pretty difficult combat sequence that I try to make as dynamic as possible, and I'll talk my way through it. So I've added music just to keep things interesting, and I wanted to show the player that they're not just going to be fighting people on their level right off the bat by having that guy there. And I've managed to get myself killed by not paying attention to a grenade. Luckily, there is an autosave right here. So we can try that again. Alright, let's try this again. The other thing that this guy running across here is doing well is he's drawing the player's attention to these wires. The wires are really relevant here. They're the player's indication of a puzzle to unlock this gate. Now they'll be able to see that there's this red glowing button back here. And that likely his ABC has something to do with it. But as they pass to it, some more Combine come through these windows and try to pin the player down. Luckily, that shotgunner opened up this door for us, and we can come back up here and heal up before finishing the fight. Alright, let's get back in there. So these guys will all be waiting for me, but I don't really have the range right now to fight them. I have worked in a way for the player to get that range through this little bit of exploration. But as they do that, more men come. So I guess they're sort of punished. But really, this is punishment for solving the puzzle. Once the player hits that button, these men rush in, you know, obviously alerted that the player is making progress. Alright. Getting pretty low on health. It's been a pretty tough fight. But now I have the range and the accuracy that I need to take care of these guys. Normally I'd advise just running through, but at this low of health, I'd say the odds of them killing me as I'm running through the locked gate over there is pretty high. So I'll just carefully pick them off, and that'll also make my my time a little easier later in the level, when I pass through the hallway that these guys are waiting for me in. Alright, looks like that's the last of them. So I'll make my way into this shipping area they had blocked off with these gates. I place these barnacles to bring the player's attention upwards. They'll make their way up there. And as they start to cross this bridge, they hear a little fight break out between the Combine and some zombies. I'm gonna pick up these supply kits first. There they are, fighting it out. I'm gonna try to take care of all of them right now. Oh. Looks like I expended my ammo for that one. Here I have this guy who falls into this liquid and dies, indicating to the player that that is not the place that they want to be. We'll come into the second building here. This is sort of the secondary lobby, maybe the emergency room is what I was imagining. Where we have these doors to the rear parking lot where the ambulance would bring people. They're feeling a little exploratory here. We've got a little elevator lobby with another supply kit. Got a zombie pounding on this door. That'll become important later on. We'll see those pillars again as we walk through this hallway. This time they're going to be useful. That is, of course, only if the player did not fight all the Combine before they came up here. There's always one waiting for them, though. So I want this section to be a little slower, a little less combat heavy. I don't want it to be boring. Alright. So they come through here, and I use that trick again, where an NPC walks into a dangerous zone to let the player know that that water is not to be touched. They hit this button, this zombie breaks through this door here. Let's go greet that zombie. Here he is. This door is open now. So we've expanded our options of travel. This would be like the, I don't know, potentially like a waiting room of some kind. Maybe a significant other would want to watch someone having their surgery done. This next little area kind of reminded me of, or I kind of thought of things like Grey's Anatomy, where people would be watching the surgery as it's being performed. And so this would be that kind of a space. Alright, and we're going to be careful not to jump in that water. The player has to do this, as they're going to take too much damage jumping across. If they're potentially somehow at full health and full shields, there is a chance that they can skip across, but if they've managed to keep their health and shields that high through all the previous fights, I think they've earned that little shortcut. Of course, they won't be through high enough to have an easy time with this next fight here in the cafeteria. I've got fast zombies that run in. I've wanted to change it up a little bit, not just have a bunch of combine run in, which was my initial plan. So I have this set up on a spawn counter, so once 3 of these fast zombies get themselves killed, this vent will open. As you can see, now if the player doesn't realize this, eventually the fast zombies will stop and then give the player the calm mind they need to find this vent here. But it's always more fun to go through this vent when there's zombies outside. You turn it on, and you can hear some explosions. We'll make our way back out. If you watch this door, we'll blow up, letting the player know that that's the next way to go. That explosion triggered some flames, and so the room sort of fills with these flaming zombies.
Ammunition depleted.
The advantage of killing all the zombies before coming in here is you don't have to end up kind of trapped in here. Alright, so if we can look at the damage from those explosions, there's now a hot gas that damages the player. They can pass through there. There isn't really much back there though. Just some more hallways. And here we are, through this door, break the glass, jump through, and here's the end of our level. Thank you all for watching. I hope this has been interesting enough and does a good job of displaying my intentions with my level design. Thank you.